Every week I help people change and transform and get rid of buttons. But what are buttons? I mean, really, what are buttons? Where did they come from? Why do we have those? And as you already begin maybe to realize that my button, that look, was a program. Now, how many of you realize that you know, Pavlov, you know, what he did is he had these dogs, and he would ring the bell, and then feed the dogs, ring the bell, feed the dogs, ring the bell, feed the dogs, ring the bell, feed the dogs, and then next thing he realized when he rang the bell, the dogs would slobber, thinking they're getting something to eat. Basic conditioning. Now, here's the interesting part about this research. He realized the more he rang the bell, the angrier the dogs got. And they'd start growling and barking at that dadgum bell, thinking it's the bell making them feel bad and depriving them. So where did these buttons come from? I had this lady like several months ago, she came to see me, and there's a coworker she just cannot stand. As a matter of fact, she thinks about this coworker on the way to work. And by the time she gets to work, she's really stewing already, and she's got her guns up, ready. Right? And so here she's griping, and the sad part about this, she goes, she was a partner in the business, or basically at the same level, and then she was promoted to boss. And you know what happens then? Things really escalate because now she's in control. Buttons are big time there. Isn't that right? And then next thing, she's griping and grumping about this person, how she hates this person, and how this person is so controlling, and how manipulative she is, and how backstabbing she is, and all this stuff. And I said, wow, really interesting. I said, let's talk about something else. Let's go back to maybe your ex-husband. Let's talk about your ex-husband. And so we start talking about the ex-husband, and we're talking about how this ex-husband and how she feels. He's so backstabbing. He's so controlling and manipulative. He's always trying to get his way and always trying to get over on top of me and just trying to take control and manipulate. I said, oh, I understand. I'm writing down all these key words, by the way. And then I said, what about when you was growing up as a child? I mean, was there anybody in your childhood that was very angry or who really pushed your buttons? Said, oh my God, my mother. I mean, she is so stiff and stubborn. She always had it her way. She's always trying to boss her way around. She's always controlling things, and she's always manipulating and trying to get me to do stuff, and she did all this stuff to me. And by the way, she's mentioning every same emotional feeling she had with who? All three of them. How do we get these buttons? Are they by accident? Is it some curse? You know, I realize how you fix this problem. You know how to do it, don't you? What you do is you start cutting their tires. Right? And if you can hire a hitman, maybe knock them off, right? Or what you could do is quit the job and go to another job. Now, how many of you realize this? She's married to this one guy, and the guy keeps treating her the same basic way, right? And then she breaks up with him, and she says, I've had enough of this stuff. Guess what happens? It's the same guy. Different name, different color of eyes, different height, different shoe size. The same problem. And so she said, you know, I've had enough of this stuff. I'm tired of it. So she'll divorce, break up with him, and find another one. And the problem is, it's us. It's what's inside you. That's where it comes from. You know, if you keep operating as if Rita's doing it to me, and so anytime Rita's around, you know what I'd do? I'd run. Right? So that means Rita has what over me? Power. Now, of course, Rita doesn't know that she's doing this to me because who feels it? I do. And guess what? I could be laying in bed at home thinking about Rita. Wonderful. Oh boy, I had a flash. Okay, wait that one. But you know, the key point is, who is it doing to who? Who's doing it to me? I am. But you know what I'm blaming who? everybody outside me because we operate from two basic models of the world. You know what the first model of the world is? This little bitty baby came into this world, and you know the baby's innocent. It's just a sweet little baby. How many of you seen the infants? You know, they can't even find their fist. You know that, don't you? They just go like this, and by accident they discover the fingers. Isn't that right? And then after they discover the fingers, they create this inside neurological connection, what fingers are, and the next thing you know, they're putting all kinds of things in their mouth. Yeah, just everything. And then, of course, I don't know about you, you know, I have some grandchildren, and I'm watching the stages of these children. They can't find their fingers, they can't crawl, they can't even get up on their, and then next thing you know, they're on their knees and they're rocking back and forth, and I figure they get up here and say, now what do I do? You know, it's kind of dangerous. And then next thing you know, they figure out how to move, and the next thing you know, they're crawling up and holding themselves, and the next thing you know, they're trying to take those dangerous steps. And the next thing, they're walking all over the place. They're crawling all over the place. But at one point in time, they didn't have this information. This child comes into the world, and whoever it is in their life begins to install programs, operating programs. For example, let's say, for example, the child who, let's say they came in this world, and it's not a great environment for the child. The mother was raped on the snowbank while her husband was away on duty, and her husband's best friend did this to her, and she's feeling guilty, she's feeling betrayed. The husband comes home, and he's really angry and pissed and upset, and he's feeling guilty because he wasn't there, and this little girl interacts with this family. And of course, you know, the father's upset, and of course, when the mother looks at this little innocent baby, she also has those memories flash through her mind of what happened. I mean, she tries not to, but it still happens. And the father has these flashes through his mind, and he interacts with this little girl. And she always wondered why I always felt like I was different. Why did they act like they didn't really like me? What is wrong with me? But this little girl grows up, and she has this push button. And she says, I don't even know why I have this push button. It's the craziest button of fear. And this push button is the fear of black, shiny shoes. She said, you know, I know it's the craziest thing. A man will walk in, if he has black, shiny shoes, my heart starts to beat. I've got to get out of here. She said, this is the weirdest thing. I don't even know where it came from. I just have this horrible feeling. Black, shiny shoes. I said, that's an odd fear. It's almost an odd fear. When I worked with somebody who had the fear of dead birds, feathers. You know, most people say I have a fear of heights, and I said, $5 says you don't have the fear of heights. It's the fear of falling. While you're on the heights, you imagine yourself falling, and you scare yourself. I mean, that's how they do it. I don't know if you know that. And so here it is, this young lady, I mean, she has this fear of black, shiny shoes, and we start to address and try to release. Now, I don't go in and I don't try to find the root cause of your problems. And the root cause, you know, of course, and I'm not a psychotherapist, I'm not even a therapist at all, but the root cause of all your problems, I want to help you understand it, is birth. I mean, it's the truth. The root cause of all your problems is birth. Now, if you hadn't been born, I'm telling you guys, you would have no problems. I mean, that's the truth. But from the beginning of birth, you have an opportunity to grow, change, and heal. And so as she became, we started to address, and matter of fact, this is the same basic chair that she sat in. We started to address this feeling of black, shiny shoes, and all of a sudden, the memory came to her. We didn't look for it. And she said, this is so bizarre. I know why I have the fear of black, shiny shoes. Because, see, my father was a military man, and he was always getting on to me pretty harshly. And as he's getting on to me, I'm looking down at black, shiny shoes. A push button. Now, she didn't know why she had the push button. She thought that there was something weird going on inside of her, and she thought maybe they were doing it to her. Who knows? And so what we did is we released that button and released the emotions, and all of a sudden, it doesn't matter anymore. So how do we get push buttons? How do I push your button? Your button is pre-installed. How is it pre-installed? It pre-installed from your experiences. It all began at birth.